Well, here just past the midweek of training camp, the midpoint, how prepared do you feel like you guys are for a season that starts in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's been a good fall camp so far. We've had a couple of hotter days these past couple of days, which I think is a good thing for us. We got really lucky for like a week and a half, really, weather-wise, and it's good to get out here in the heat and play against each other, and it's fun competing against each other. Maybe a little bit tired of competing against each other, but no, it's been good.
How excited are you to get out here underneath the lights coming up on Friday, and the next couple practices will be under the lights?
Yeah, playing under the lights is always fun. I always look forward to them during the season. We got 2 this year. It's a good time. It's a different atmosphere. It makes it feel more like a game practice-wise, and the coaches do a good job on scripting it like a game, I think, and it's good.
I know that they've had the lights here for a while. Is there any adjustment when you're looking up into them? They're different, obviously. They illuminate the field a lot brighter. Is there any difference for you guys as you guys look up into the lights to catch the ball?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I think it can maybe a little bit, but actually like when we play on like 2 o'clock games, that's when it's harder to see when the ball's in the air. I don't know why too. Just 2 o'clock's harder for I don't know why, but yeah. So the lights I think is actually almost easier to see the ball, to be honest with you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
So tomorrow you guys will get the chance to have the boosters here and have booster night and practice underneath the lights. How important is it to go through it? I know you guys always meet the boosters and kind of introduce yourselves. What's that like for you to meet the people who support the program?
It's always been fun. I mean, we come in here under this tent that we're under right now, and they're all sitting around eating dinner, just mingling and stuff, and then we get to take time out of our practice to come and introduce ourselves. And I've been here a long time, and so I've got to know some of them in the community or worked for them in the past, or family friends, and of roommates that I've had. Some of the people they're close with are a part of that booster memberships and stuff like that. So it's always good to put names with faces and for them to know our names and our faces, as well as just outside of knowing our numbers and who we are on the field and that kind of stuff too.
How prepared do you and the defense feel for a season opener that's, as of today, 2 weeks away?
I know, it's crazy, right? It feels like we're just now still should be in June or July or something like that. But the past 2 weeks have been pretty solid. I think we're in a good spot. Need to hone in on a couple other things. Defensive line-wise, just knowing where we're going. Some of our younger guys are guys that are new, just our blitz paths and stunt movements and that kind of thing. Just trying to hone in on, hey, we got to get there, or bad things could happen. But overall, with the defense, I think communication, man. I think that's the biggest thing, and making sure we're all on the same page, even if it's the wrong call, but we're all on the same page. We got a chance to be pretty successful. I think we have a really talented group, but just got to all be on the same page and play 4 full quarters of football, and we should be pretty solid.
And one thing Coach talked about after practice was the fact that, if you guys have issues or problems, to go and see each other, to help each other out, and to be a family. Yeah. What does that mean to you as one of the leaders, captains on the team, to make sure that you guys are providing that family atmosphere that helps to bring everybody up?
Right. I think it's easy to do inside of your own position room, but when it gets harder or less comfortable is going out to other position rooms, like I need to venture in more to the linebacker room and the defensive backs room and build better relationships with those guys so they have better trust in me and I have more trust in them. That it's not like I don't trust them, it's just a subconscious thing. The closer I am to those kids and to those younger guys or transfers, the more they're going to trust me for me to lead and follow kind of what I'm about. So
whose birthday was it today?
It was Coach Laporto's daughter, Kaylin. She turned 10, so happy birthday, Kaylin, if you see this, from the entire Hornet family.
Does it seem like it's gone quick? And we're talking about a game that's 2 weeks away now.
Yes, this summer's gone by super fast, but that's not always a bad thing. It means we're putting in that work and just getting after it, man. So, and I'm really glad to be around these guys every day. So, it may have gone fast, but I loved it.
You got about a week and a half of camp left. How do you feel like it's been going for you personally and for the defensive line?
Me personally, man, I'm just staying away from injuries is great, and I feel like I'm playing some of my best ball. Make sure mentally I know what the O-line's doing, so kind of continuing to learn the game each and every day. And our defense, man, we're playing fast, we're playing physical, and we're playing the lights out right now. So.
Well, you mentioned about the lights being out. The lights are going to come on. You guys will have 3 straight practices coming up underneath the lights.
Yep.
How does that change kind of just the attitude and the atmosphere of practice?
That dynamic can be completely different, man. So coming out here at night, playing under the lights can give us that game feel, and that's what we need right now. So just to get ready for that first game against Washburn.
Coach, at this point, you're about halfway through camp, and today in the middle of practice in your later periods, had a couple of light just discussion periods. How do you, as a coach, once you're in camp, kind of figure out when you need to dial things up in terms of intensity and when to dial things back?
Yeah, I guess, Blake, it's you got to depend on your assistant coaches. Ask them, talk about it in staff meetings. Because sometimes as a head coach, you just feel like you got to work all the time. And you got to work them hard and you got to push them. And but I have been doing this a long time, so there's some gut feel to it as well. I feel like we've had a physical camp up to this point. And so we sometimes during practice, I'll have a 5-minute period where I'll call it a halftime. And all it is just to get your position, kind of talk about things that they've done up to that point and things that we're getting ready to go do. So they can kind of get an understanding of some things they did wrong. You can kind of coach them a little bit. It's kind of like halftime of a game. And we do it in practice sometimes. I don't do it all the time. It's just kind of that deal's kind of a feel deal. Like, hey, we've been going 3 or 4 days in a row for, 2.5 hours, a little bit longer. It's time to give them a 5-minute little break, and we talk football, though, when we give them that break.
One thing you talked with the guys after practice about was that in order for you guys to have this kind of success that you guys want to have each year in and year out, you talked about the family aspect and about lifting each other up and being there to support each other. How do you kind of emphasize that with the group? It's not necessarily an X's and O's thing, but it's something you talk about FOE all the time, family over everything. What does that mean to you as you implement it into your program?
Yeah, I think what it means to me is we do our best as players and coaches to not just talk about those things and really be about it. And then it's like, well, how do you be about it? Well, you got to get players to know one another. There's always in the college game, there's players leaving, there's new players coming. And there's some guys that have been together for 6 years. They've known each other and they've played together, but there's also new guys we've got over the summer, and they got to get to know guys. So we do different exercises. I'm an old psychology major, is where I got my degree from, Emporia State. So I believe in putting guys in situations where they got to get to know one another. It's not like, hey, just go sit with him and talk about whatever. We try to give him some things to talk about. Because I do believe the more, and then naturally as players progress through camp and they're here a year, 2 years, 3 years, they'll begin to get to know one another. And then the more times you have guys staying and don't have guys leaving. We have a really high retention rate here, so I think that's huge. And I always say we may not have the best looking team out there, but we got the best team. Because we got guys I truly believe will play for one another, but you got to get to that point somehow, and you got to get those new guys. They got to figure it out. They got to understand what Emporia State football is about, and culture is a word that is overused to me, and you have to have something I believe that defines what your culture is and your beliefs and your philosophy, and getting those guys to all understand that, and that's where you have different exercises we do, whether it be at dinner, lunch, or we have another exercise we do called the 4-H's, pretty cool deal. And so just I don't know, I know I'm kind of rambling on, but I believe in that type of stuff. So
you talk a lot about the team behind the team as well, and you guys are going to get a chance to come out on Friday night and play in front of some boosters and host them. How important are those boosters to making your program successful?
Well, they truly are the team behind the team. At this level in Division II, we don't have big TV contracts and all those things where we're getting money. I mean, we have to depend on boosters, community support, alumni. And so tomorrow night for our booster night, I always think it's nice for those fans, for the boosters that have helped our program, for them to come down and kind of get to know the team. You know, the one thing about football that's different than any other sport is you wear a helmet. And you don't get to sometimes, unless it's on the sidelines, but plus you're setting up in the stands, so it's kind of far away, right? You know, I mean, so you got to get to know guys. You got to put a face with a name. And we let them come down to practice. They have full reign. They get a practice schedule. They're not going to get to call plays like the students do on Monday night. I'm sure some of them do on Saturdays, some of the boosters, which is fine. But they get to go watch any drill, and then we have each position come over and they introduce themselves, where they're from. There's been boosters that have been here ever since I've done this thing, and I've done this ever since I've been here. And there's a lot of boosters that have been here for 17 years, and there's a lot of the boosters that know some of our guys, but there's new guys they want to put a face with, or they want to go out there and watch them practice to see how they are. And that's just a time for us to kind of give back to them in a way that they can, hey, come and be a part of what we're doing.
You're kind of at the midpoint of camp, and I asked the other two guys, you're 2 weeks away from playing a football game. As of today, it seems like it's gone fast. How ready do you feel like you are in terms of where you wanted the team to be getting to this point here, passing the midway point of training?
Well, I think we're in a good spot. I think, you know, I'm not disappointed by any means. I know there's a lot of, like right now we're at a point where we need to stop the installation on both sides of the ball and just get to where we're coaching these guys and cleaning things up fundamentally, and getting players to understand the different situations in football. You know, we worked a lot of inside the 10 stuff today. Previous practice, the last two practices, have been working some red zone, you know, incorporating third down, all those things. You know, just kind of coaching some situational that can come up during the course of a game as we start our preparation, and that'll get kind of amped up here as we progress. You know, Saturday we're going to have the officials here. We will scrimmage, and I want them to throw flags because we're going to have to learn from it. You know, there's been a change in 2-minute. That's been a different. The NCAA has changed the 2-minute rule. It's going to be more. It's going to be like the NFL 2-minute rule. So that's going to be different. So we're going to need to do a session of that. Even though we may not have all our 2-minute offense in, we still need to work that situation, film it, and learn from it. So I feel good about where we're at. I just know that it'll be here before we know it, and we got to make sure that we're continuing to practice all the situations and to get our guys ready.
Last question. Tomorrow's booster night. What do the players need to say when they come up here and introduce themselves? What do they have to tell the boosters?
They have to tell the boosters, hello, I'm Garin Higgins. I'm from Blackwell, Oklahoma. I play quarterback. I am a psychology major with a minor in physical education. Stingers up. I'm an only child. I miss my mom and dad.